today I'm doing the 5 fragrances I love and 5 fragrances I hate tag. No one tagged me, that's okay. Sometimes you gotta do it yourself. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to begin with the ones that I hate, although that's a strong word. However, I would use it for some of these. We're gonna start with those because I don't actually have bottles of them, because why would I? That doesn't make sense. So let's get started. 5 fragrances that I hate. First up for fragrances that I hate, and I'll put a picture somewhere so that you know what the bottles look like, but this is one I talked about in another video recently. This comes from Jennifer Lopez, and it is Jenny Glow. This came out 20 years ago, and I hated it then, and I hate it now. But at one point I did own it because I wanted it without smelling it. Because I was a big fan of Jennifer Lopez when I was, about 17, 18. This was created by Catherine Walsh and Louise Turner, I think, yes. And it's like a bunch of white florals. Gives me a super crazy bad headache. Cannot do it. Not all white florals do that. Some white floral fragrances are fine, but some just trigger these massive headaches for me, and this one does it. It's like jasmine and neroli, I feel like, are what I get strongest in this. And jasmine can be definitely a note that can trigger headaches for me depending on how it's done. If it's like heady or indolic, don't like it there. I also don't typically love neroli in most fragrances. If it's orange blossom, that's fine, but when it's neroli, not so much. And then this had like musk and other florals, it's like kind of maybe citrusy, fruity kind of notes. But yeah, it was just instant headache, no go, can't do Jenny Glow. Another one that I hate, and I've talked about this, but it's been a while. However, if you've watched me for a while, you know I hate this fragrance, and I will use that word there. It is Lust from Lush. People love this fragrance, especially people who really love jasmine. I think it smells like halitosis, and I can't get over that. I can't. It smells like horrible bad breath to me. Again, jasmine is the predominant note. There is also ylang ylang in this, and sandalwood, vanilla rose. It's a Mark Constantine creation, which, many of his perfumes I love, but not this one. I can't do it. It's gross to me, to my nose. The way that my DNA is, the way that my brain perceives this, it smells like straight up horrible breath. So that is Lush Lust. Besides jasmine, another note that I really struggle with, and in general, I would say I pretty much just don't like this note, whereas jasmine I sometimes do quite enjoy, but that's mimosa. And so Amouage's Love Mimosa is definitely a no for me. Do not like it at all. This is an Elise Benat creation, I believe. And it's obviously mimosa is like kind of the featured note here. It comes from that collection with I think it's called the Love Collection, and it has the one in the purple bottle that everybody loves. I can't think of the name right now. I don't know. It has several. But I think there's Blossom Love. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the purple one. But people, Lilac, duh, idiot. Lilac Love is the one that people really enjoy from that collection. But the Love Mimosa, no. Can't do it. So this one is like this, I don't know, it comes off as really fuzzy to me in texture, the mimosa here, but it's also like somewhat watery, fruity, has kind of the like, I don't know, like violet leafy kind of vibe, which I'm also not a huge fan of in many cases with that note. But yeah, I just can't do it. I cannot do mimosa in general, but in particular, I cannot do Love Mimosa from Amouage. Now, number 4, I'm going to give you a specific fragrance, but in general, I don't like many fragrances at all from this house or its sister house, that is the house of Montal / Mancera. Montal's Oud Amazing though, can't do it. Awful to my nose. Again, I'm not saying it's an awful fragrance. If you like it, that's fine. But to me, I think the issue is, and I struggle with a lot of these, it's this sweet, fruity oud combo that I do not enjoy. And there are several iterations of that in sort of the Montal house, the Mancera house, but also I've noticed there's a few in the Tiziano Terenzi house that kind of have this similar composition. There are some fragrances from all 3 of those, by the way, that I do like and I think are good. But as a whole, I don't own any Montals or Manceras, and I don't really like any enough to, or at least so far haven't sampled one that I felt like I liked enough to buy a bottle of. But Oud Amazing, I just couldn't do. Like I said, it's like, I think it's grapes that's supposed to be in there. I don't know, it's something very sweet, fruity, and then oud, vanilla is in there, leather, patchouli, but it was just an instant no for me. And I just can't, guys, I'm sorry. All right, anyway, last one is from a house that I often do love, though. I love many of their fragrances, and it's from one of my very favorite perfumers ever, but I do not enjoy this particular fragrance. And this is Tom Ford's Orchid Soleil, which is discontinued. A lot of people, you know, really love it, try to find it, but I'm not one of them. So this was created by Sonia Constant, who I do very much adore the work of. But this one is like this tuberose heavy, kind of like sweet, creamy, a little bit nutty, floral type of fragrance, maybe a bit of vanilla, maybe a bit of some like kind of woody or green aspects to it. But I would say it's more along the lines of a white floral again, which obviously not necessarily my favorite style of fragrance. So yeah, even though I love a lot of Tom Ford fragrances and I really love a lot of Sonia Constant's work, Orchid Soleil is just a fat no for me. All right, now let's go to the positive side. I like being more positive here. And we're going to talk about some fragrances that I love. What I decided to do was not pick my very favorite fragrances because I already talk about those a lot on my channel. And I wanted to give you something a little different, maybe some things I haven't talked about in a while, or maybe not really much at all on my channel, but things that I do really love and enjoy wearing a lot. So let's start with maybe a more like summery fragrance that I've been wearing recently. This is Jo Love's Mango Thai Lime. I first sampled this thanks to Hillary from the Burrow Nerdy Fragrance Reviews. I'll link her channel below. But this one is very realistic, like just really well done. Obviously, Jo Malone's the perfumer of this house. And of course, this is mango and lime, but it's still like, it has some like kind of a woody vibe. I think there's thyme and vetiver in here, maybe a touch peppery, and I think there's like a little bit of like a green mint in here as well. It's just like wonderful, mouth-watering, perfect for hot days. It makes you feel refreshed, but at the same time, it's unique. It doesn't smell like all the kind of typical citrusy fragrances out there. So definitely a big fan of Mango Thai Lime, and glad that for this summer, I finally was able to get myself a bottle, and yeah, I enjoy wearing it. Perfect for super hot days. Another one that I've reached for a lot this summer on very hot days is from Louis Vuitton. This is Afternoon Swim, and it is a Jacques Cavalier creation. This one is pretty much just a straight citrusy fragrance. I think it's orange and bergamot, and it just, I think that might be it in terms of the main notes. It does feel watery to me, so I think the name is fitting, Afternoon Swim. It's like this really refreshing, light, watery, citrusy kind of fragrance. On skin, it doesn't last like crazy long, but I've noticed that when I wear it on my clothing, I can get some good longevity out of it. And it just, I feel really clean and refreshed, and like I smell great when I wear this. So definitely recommend it. It's not cheap, and probably there's been price increases on it. Like I assume, I mean, it seems like everything has lately. So I assume that Louis Vuitton has gone the same direction, although I haven't checked lately. But yeah, it just makes me happy in the summer. So that's a good one. Afternoon Swim from Louis Vuitton. Here's a newer one to my collection that I'm really loving, although I hate the name. So it's kind of a little bit of both. I love the fragrance, hate the name. This is a Lab on Fire's Messy, Sexy, Just Rolled Out of Bed. Talk about a try-hard name, right? Like, it's cringy. That name is cringy to me. Anyway, maybe some people love it, and that's totally fine. But this fragrance itself is glorious. I really love it. So this is Dominique Ropillon, and this is just this lovely, light, fluffy vanilla fragrance. It has like a toffee note in it. It kind of reminds me a little bit stroopwafel-ish, but not so much so that I dislike the fragrance. It's like just a touch of that sort of stroopwafel-y toffee kind of vibe to it. Tonka in here, heliotrope, which is probably why it feels like a fluffy vanilla to me. And then I think there's like touches of like musks and woods, but in general, I think like when I smell it, I think toffee and this light, fluffy, airy sort of vanilla with maybe a touch of tonka. So that one is, I'm not even gonna say it again. It's this one. This one, I hate the name. All right, next up is from Zara. So this is a little bit more affordable than some of these other ones. Although honestly, the Jo Loves fragrances, they're on par, I would say, with kind of your typical designer fragrances in terms of price point, maybe slightly more, but they're not too crazy expensive overall, comparatively. This one, Ebony Wood, I can't remember exactly how much it retails for. It's a little bit more than the standard Zara fragrances because this is from the Jo Loves collection, so this is another Jo Malone creation. But still, I think out of the whole Jo Loves collection, or at least those that I've tried, this is my favorite. So it's a fairly simple fragrance. It's like this peppery clove sort of vibe with the ebony wood. That's it. So that's what I get from it. But to me, this is like grounding and calm and relaxing, a little bit cozy. And so this is something that I enjoy wearing just when I'm like, you know, by myself at home at night. Kind of almost feels like meditative in a way. But yeah, I really like this. And, you know, I feel like that's a pretty decent dent considering I've only had this for a year now, and also considering how many fragrances I have. So definitely one that I reach for, easy to wear, something I'll just throw on in the evenings. And again, it just makes me feel calm and relaxed. All right, the last love that I want to talk about in this video is from Van Cleef & Arpels, and this is Bois Doré. And I feel like I don't talk about this one enough considering how much I truly do love it. I would say out of all of these that I'm talking about today, this one is my very favorite of this bunch. Again, these aren't necessarily my favorites overall, but ones that I do all very much love. This one is Fabrice Pellegrin, and when you hear the notes, you will, if you know me, you'll know that I love it, right? So, or I should love it on paper. So it's vanilla, tonka, tobacco, there's almond in it. I want to say like, you know, kind of maybe some slight spice, like a peppery kind of spice, touch of woodiness. But right there, like the main notes that I pick up from this are like a little bit of sweet tobacco, the vanilla for sure, the you know, kind of slight, almost maybe slightly spicy tonka with that almond, and those are some of my very favorite notes. So it's not surprising that I love this. I mean, if it were poorly done, then I probably wouldn't, but it's a well done fragrance and it just features a lot of things that I really love, especially that, I mean, vanilla, tonka, and tobacco, like in my top 5 probably in terms of notes that I love. And, you know, throw in iris, and gosh, it would be hard to pick a 5th because there are several others that I love as well. But yeah, I just feel like I don't talk about this a lot, but I freaking love this fragrance. So if you haven't checked it out and you have a similar taste to mine in which you love those specific notes that I just mentioned, I definitely think it's worth a smell. So check that one out. Again, it's called Bois Doré and it's from Van Cleef & Arpels. All right, so just a little quickie today to show you 5 fragrances that I hate and 5 fragrances that I love. I would really appreciate hearing some of the fragrances you hate. I tried to not throw in the obvious one that I hate, which is of course Secretions Magnifique, although if you want a 6th one that I hate, I also hate that fragrance. But I would love to hear some ones that you really can't stand. And also I would really love to hear some ones that you've been loving, especially if there's something new that you've been loving. Definitely would like to check that out, hear your thoughts, maybe try to track down a sample at some point. So leave me comments down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.